morning and welcome to Good Morning. It's a Grow Joy Day. I'm so happy you're here with me today. I'm Cathy Freeman with Cathy Freeman Art. Whether you're sipping your morning coffee, taking a moment of peace, or just starting your day in the car, I hope this time together brings you the good vibes, inspiration, and joy you need. Take a deep breath in, hold it for a moment, and let it out slowly. Let's do that again. Breathe in and breathe out. So relaxing, right? It's interesting. Just to give you a heads up, I have a challenging, I struggle with dental anxiety, all right? So going to the dentist ever since I was young, as brings a lot of anxiety up in me. And so I was noticing, I went to the dentist to get my teeth cleaned, and I noticed that I had to tell the individual that was cleaning my teeth, because she was going so slow and talking, and I said, I just need to tell you that I have dental anxiety, because I was sitting there just really trying to breathe and relax. And she says, oh, okay. So she started working a little bit faster, and I was like, oh, thank you. But that breath is so important. And the only reason I went into that silly little story there was to tell you is that it's really important to take a moment and to just really breathe deep. So I'm not just doing it for the fun of it. It's a reminder to really breathe in and open up your lungs and let that out. And it really settles down and soothes the whole nervous system of our body. I am so glad to be spending this time with you. In our last episode, we talked about the power of loving yourself as God loves you. Understanding that you are worthy, beautiful, and deeply cherished as His child. Today, we're going to continue exploring this journey of self-love, but we're going to take it a step further. Today, we're going to focus on the second step in our Grow Joy Journaling process, which is all about refocus. Now, refocusing is a practice that brings us back to what truly matters. Think about that. It brings us back to what truly matters, clearing away those distractions that often get in the way of our purpose and our growth. It's about realigning our heart and our minds and our energies with God's will for us. When we refocus, we step away from the noise and all that chaos of life and bring ourselves back to what's essential. Our relationship with God, our personal growth, our creative calling, and ultimately living a life that fulfills our purpose. Now, refocusing is not always easy. Life has a way of pulling us in so many different directions. But when we pause, clear our mind, and realign our hearts with God's purpose, we open up a space for transformation. When we refocus, we're able to answer that call to grow, to create, and live with intention. One of the things that I love about the Grow Joy Journaling program is that it offers us simple yet powerful ways that we can refocus and bring in that clarity that we need. That's what I want to talk about today, taking a moment to reset and center yourself. I'm going to tell you a true story. This is a beautiful story of a woman named Sarah who was going through an incredibly difficult time in her life. She had lost her job, faced some health challenges, and found herself struggling to see the way forward. But then she took a step back and decided to refocus. She spent some time in prayer and journaling and reflecting on her values and her different passions that she had in life. Through that process, she discovered a new sense of purpose. She reconnected with her love of writing and started a blog that not only helped her heal, but also inspired countless others who were facing similar challenges. Sarah's story reminds us that even when life, throws us off course, we have that power to refocus, realign our thoughts, and move forward with renewed strength and purpose. Just like Sarah, we can choose to see the challenges as opportunities for growth, trusting that God has a plan for us. Now, I have another story for you that illustrates this, and it's a historical story from Nelson Mandela. That name may be very familiar to you. And as we're focusing on this theme of refocus, I want to share this incredible story. After Nelson Mandela was imprisoned for, I think, 27 long years, Mandela could have easily allowed bitterness, resentment, and anger to dominate his thoughts and actions. Think about it. How easy if somebody does one thing to us that those feelings of bitterness can start to develop inside, or to, grow a little bit, and those feelings of resentment. He was in prison for 27 years, but instead he chose to refocus his energy on the vision of a free and equal South Africa. Mandela's strength wasn't just in his ability to endure this hardship of prison. His real power lay in his ability to refocus on the biggest picture: reconciliation, justice, and peace. He knew that no matter how hard the journey became, the mission was greater than any obstacle he faced. So think about that. No matter how hard your journey may be, the mission that you're on is more important. It's greater than any of the obstacles that you face. In our own lives, when we're facing challenges, we can learn from Mandela's ability to refocus from this higher purpose, trusting that the struggles are part of a greater process. Let's choose to focus our thoughts and actions on what matters most: our values, our faith, and our ability to create a positive impact. I love this particular step of refocus. Even if you don't do the first step, which is really just about kind of getting in and understanding what's going on, this step is I consider probably the most important, and the step that you can actually do on its own. And it's a step of being able to just really decide, what is it that I want? What is it that's really important for me? Because we can get caught up in so many little obstacles, so many other things that are going on that we need to redirect and refocus. And we need to get back on track of what's really, really important. Now, I want to share something creative with you today, and it's part of our Grow Joy Journaling project. This is a painting I've been working on, a little watercolor of a basket of pansies. And why pansies? This project actually is the project for the group. So I'm not going to take you through and walk you through the actual steps of it. I'm just going to share it with you. But why did I choose pansies for this? Well, pansies are often associated with thoughts of love, which is what this whole month is about, right? Reflection and remembrance. Their vibrant colors, they remind us of the ability to focus on the beauty in our lives and to carry love with us wherever we go. They symbolize deep, heartfelt thoughts, and they encourage us to refocus on the love that surrounds us and the love we have for ourselves. As we refocus, we can use these symbols to remind ourselves of the positive energy we need to cultivate. Just like the pansies in this painting, we need to stay grounded, opening our hearts and our minds to the beauty of God's love and our own self-worth. This step is a perfect step of the Grow Joy Journaling process, where I direct those individuals that are using this process to go to the Creative Reminders Library and to pick an affirmation that really steps out to them, something that stands out, that helps them to refocus. You can't refocus if you don't know the direction you want to go in. And so having an affirmation, especially one that I've created in the Creative Reminders library, is so important to just get you in that direction, to get you going. And then you can build upon that. So let me look up one for you here. I'm going to pick up my phone and I'm going to go into the Creative Reminders library, which the members have access through the main library itself. And I'm sorry, but give me a minute. I've got to go in and register, put my email and password, and there we go. It opens up. All right. So let's click into that little area. And I think what I'm going to choose as I go through here, I'm going to go down to, I'm going to go to section 5, which is about 100 different phrases in here. But this section is all about a readiness to spread one's wings, exploration, and agency. So let's see what sticks out in my mind. I'll just read a few here and see what pops up. And maybe if you want to post in the comments, I'll tell you the numbers and you can post in the comments the number, because trying to write this out, you wouldn't be able to recall it. But this group is thoughts that represent a readiness to spread one's wings, a level of exploration and agency. When we act, live from the thoughts that are in the 300s and above, we have the ability to participate in miracles. Don't you love that? We increase our level of learning. The choices we make will determine our speed of growth. Now, what I meant by that is basically, as we learn and as we're willing to open our mind to understanding, we're not going to always make great choices. And so being open to learn from those experiences and then progress, that will help speed our growth. But if we get stuck and we're like justifying our choices, then it's going to take longer. That's a side note. You don't need to know that. But anyway, okay, so let's see here. I'm going to go down to 368. I don't remember what that one is, but let's just see what it is and see if it will fit. And then I'll read it a couple of others, and you choose what you think would be super great to go along with this. Just takes me a minute to kind of scroll down because there's a lot here. 368. Release the tendency to choose to go unnoticed or to act small due to fear of others' misperceptions. Feeling safe to grow and share, to explore, learn, develop, and test, try, and to have fun. I like that one, 368. I'm going to take a little note of that one here on my paper. And then I'll go back and I'll look at the comments after we're done and see what you choose. And I'll find one and it'll be what I put actually into my journal to work on. So let's see. Let's go to another one. 332. This comes to my mind. And that's how I do this. I just go with what number comes into my mind. It's no big magic or whatever. It's no big formula. It's just, I think I'll see what this one says and then go with it. 332 says, conviction to do this. Move hand in hand with God. Permission to go forward fully. Sometimes we have to feel like we need permission to do something, don't we? Like we've got to have permission to take action or to move forward. And this is reminding us that we have permission. We have permission. If the thoughts come to you to do it, go do it. 334, just because I'm here. Believing and knowing that I am ready, willing, and able. Letting go of feelings of anxiety and the feeling that I am working for something, but never getting ahead. Feeling that I am prepared to receive the information for this opportunity. I am ready to listen and proceed forward, following the ideas, thoughts, and guidance given. Whew, there's a lot there, and there's quite a few of those sentences that stuck out in my own mind. I think I'm going to use that one. I'm going to use all three and put in here. But you don't have to use the whole thing that I wrote up. You can just pull the things that stick out to you. And when I mean stick out, you, as you're reading them, you're like, ooh, I like that. I want that. I want to be able to think about that. So I'm going to write these down because I'll get off of here and I'll get talking and I'll forget where I was. All righty. Love it. There. Go ahead in the comments, if you will, and just put in here which one sparked your interest. Which one would you put in there? I'd love to know what you thought and what was your choice and your opinion. So, as closing today's episode, I want to encourage you to take a moment and think about where you need to refocus in your own life. What areas are pulling you away from what truly matters? Where do you need to realign your energy to live in a way that is fulfilling your true purpose? All right? I give you that challenge to think about that. Now I'm going to show you a video and take you along as I create this project. I've sped this up so it won't take too long, and I'll just talk you through it. Basically, I transferred the image that I had drawn out using graphite paper. The graphite paper, if you don't have that, then you can go ahead and take your image, turn it over on the back, take the old pencil, scribble on the back to get that graphite on there, and then turn it back over. And remember the good old days as a kid? You could go over those lines and you could transfer it. So I already transferred it, and now I'm doing going over it with some ink. And what I wanted to do with this one is I wanted to get back into just doing something a little bit simpler, where I'm doing more of a pen and ink, using some of the dots and line work to create shadows and shading, and then add a little bit of watercolor along the way after I get through with that. So this project is going to be focused mostly on pen and ink, and then add a little bit of watercolor to it. Now, don't let if you're not an artist, or you don't feel like, oh, I can't draw, or you've got any kind of holdback. It is so easy to get an image. Obviously, it's got to be a non-copywritten image off of the internet or in a coloring book or something, and then transfer that image to your paper, to transfer it over to your watercolor paper. If this is the first time you're watching, I've shown you in previous episodes, I've shown this book that I purchased at the art store, and it's all watercolor paper, and it's really fun. So what I went ahead and did is write out the affirmations that I wanted for this particular page, put them on the left side, and that's where I'm putting all of my creative reminders, my affirmations, my thoughts. I'm putting them on the left side of the page, and then on this right side of the book, the page on the right side is where I'm doing my artwork. Now what you see me do is I've gone through and I've outlined over that pencil line, and I'm doing what's called stippling. Stippling is simply just another word for lots of tiny little dots. And the closer you put those dots together, the darker the area becomes. The further apart the dots are, then they still give a little bit of, that shadowy kind of look, but it's not as dark. I'm going in and just putting some horizontal lines also. Just add a little bit of variety and a different kind of texture to it. When you're doing the stippling, Do it, start out a little bit, I start out slow because I want to really be intentional on where I'm putting those dots. If I'm just haphazardly flapping them down there, then it gets messy looking. When you're using stippling, I like it personally when there's a little bit more focused effort and you're paying attention to where you're placing them. You're not just dot, 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 really crazy like. If that makes any sense, I don't know. Going through I decided on this one, I wanted to do this side of the flowers in the pen and ink. And then the other side, I'm going to just leave. I'm not going to put the pen and ink in there, except for just a couple towards the front. And I'll add the watercolor. I've got this really nice palette. This is a Prima watercolor set, and I know it doesn't come with that many watercolors, but what I've done is I've combined a few of those together. This one is my earth tones and my deeper purples and blues, and so if I'm wanting that kind of color scheme, then I know I'll grab this palette that I have. I've got another one that's got a lot of bright colors, and I'll be using that in a few minutes, but this one has all these wonderful warm colors. And just I laid down the water first and then started adding the color on top and letting it flow by itself. I'm not trying to dictate too much on where it's going. Midway through creating this project, I decided, let's just go ahead and add color to more than what I had first anticipated. And so I went ahead and I've added a little bit more, but I'm doing it in different shades, or you might say intensity of color. So some are going to be very, very faint, and some obviously darker. And we're going back in now and putting a second layer on these. One's in the right side of that basket. It's giving them a little more color, and just keep adding. This is a little bit different purple now. This is a deeper, more of a bluish purple, whereas the other one was more of a violet. The beauty of creating something like this is don't get hung up on perfection. You'll hear me say that over and over and over. Don't get hung up on perfection. This is your journal. And not that you don't want to create something beautiful for yourself, but my goal, you're not going to be selling it. I'm not selling this. This is my own thoughts. It's for myself. And so just relax and play. And that's why this changed a little bit as I was going along, is because I just felt like it. I wanted to do something a little bit different than what I originally intended to happen. This palette, I don't have a really good green in it, but I thought, well, let's put in this turquoise. It's a little bit more of a blue green. And then what I'll do is I'll go over the top of those with my favorite green of all, which is the apple color green. More of your apple color or your avocado. But I felt like this first screen worked really well because when you're using your blue violets, your red violets, it's along that blue tone anyway. Whereas your avocado apple green is more of a yellow base, yellow tones. So that's why I went with that blue one first. And now I'm just pulling in actually another color that's blue itself. Adding another layer on top and just playing with what I have there. We'll give it a quick little dry. And I know that if you're doing your own work, obviously, you want to let it air dry rather than using some kind of a heat gun or dryer to it. But when I'm putting together my classes and that, the time is such a big factor that I go ahead and pull out the dryer. I've come back in and I've added some more dots to the center of those flowers with the black ink, bringing them more into focus. And I want to add a little bit of texture, something to the background. So this here is the distressed ink. And I've got a template and I'm just putting on that vintage photo with the distressed ink. And then I'm going to go right back over the top of this where I've already put the brown, and I'm going to put the blue, which is your broken china. And it's the Ranger Distressed Oxide ink. And there you see it. We've got it finished. So fun. I hope that this episode has inspired you to refocus and to embrace the next step in your personal growth journey. Don't forget, you can join me for more creative projects and reflections each Tuesday as I show up for this. Good morning. It's a Grow Joy Journaling Day. All right, go make it a great one. This is Cathy Freeman with Cathy Freeman Art, and I'll see you again next Tuesday.